Week 1 was a fantastic opening weekend in college football. We were given a number of fantastic games, including a number of fantastic performances. Although we still have months of college football remaining, here are my top 10 picks to win the Heisman Trophy after week 1 of the college football season. We'll kick things off with the wide receiver in Ole Miss wide receiver Trey Harris. He had quite the debut to his 2023 campaign, and to his Ole Miss campaign as well. After spending 3 seasons at Louisiana Tech, he transferred to Ole Miss this offseason. He only caught 6 passes on Saturday, but he turned those into 133 yards, averaging more than 22 yards a catch. He also caught 4 touchdowns as well, matching his total from 2021 and nearly half as many as he had last season. I know he's not going to be catching 4 touchdowns a game every week, but because of his fantastic start to the season, there's a realistic chance that Trey Harris could potentially come close to 20 receiving touchdowns this season. If that's the case and Ole Miss wins a lot of games, keep an eye on Trey Harris to potentially be in the Heisman conversation. Jalen Milroe got the start for Alabama and had a really solid debut. He completed 72% of his passes for 200 yards while throwing 3 passing touchdowns with no interceptions. He was also the Tide's leading rusher as he averaged 7 yards a carry with 50 yards on the ground. He also rushed in 2 touchdowns on the day, giving him 5 total scores. I get it, Alabama didn't play anybody, so we're gonna have to wait and see how he looks against Texas this weekend before I really buy into his Heisman stock. Sam Hartman has been better than advertised through his first 2 games at Notre Dame. After lighting up the stat sheet at Wake Forest over the last couple of seasons, he transferred to Notre Dame, giving them probably their best quarterback they've had in quite some time. Through the first 2 games of the season, Hartman is completing 83% of his passes and is thrown for just under 500 yards. He has 6 passing touchdowns and no interceptions. Notre Dame has played 2 really bad teams through the first 2 weeks of the season, so that's the only reason I don't have him higher as of this point. I'm pretty sure Bo Nix only needed to play 1 quarter this past weekend as Oregon dropped 80 points on Portland State. Nix was nearly perfect as he completed 23 of 27 passes for just under 300 yards. He had 3 passing touchdowns with no interceptions. If I were to guess, Bo Nix is going to continue having games like this moving forward, and I'm sure the Heisman committee is just going to ignore everything he does. Drake May had a solid but not fantastic performance against South Carolina this weekend. He completed 75% of his passes and threw for just under 300 yards with 2 touchdowns, but he did have 2 interceptions. But I thought it was a pretty impressive victory over South Carolina, so that's why I have him inside this top 10 as of right now. Up next, I have Travis Hunter, and this feels like it's a little too low for him. He had quite the debut last week for Colorado. First, on offense, he caught 11 passes for 119 yards. He was the best receiving option for the Buffaloes. And then you switch things over to defense, and he was just as good, if not better. When you look at the numbers, he only had 3 tackles, but he did have an interception and a pass deflection, and he also could have had another interception as well that he dropped. Actually, on offense, he could have had a number of other big plays as well. So overall, when you look at what he's done on offense and defense, Travis Hunter is definitely going to be in the Heisman conversation this year. Before I get to the rest of my Heisman picks, here's how you can make the 2023 college football season even more exciting. You can actually win money by watching college football games thanks to Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is excited to give me this exclusive offer for my YouTube subscribers. Use promo code Harris to receive a 100% deposit match up to $100 if you sign up. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game. You pick at least 2 players and can pick as many as 5. You choose a player and decide whether or not their stats are going to be higher or lower. The more you get right, the more you win. So if you deposit $50, they'll add $50 to your account. If you deposit $100, they'll add $100 of free money. Consider this my personal gift to you for being awesome subscribers. So if you'd like to win money this college football season, make sure to download the Underdog Fantasy app and use promo code Harris for a 100% deposit match up to $100. You can also sign up using the link in my description. We have another player from Colorado entering this list in quarterback Shedeur Sanders. He had the best game of his life, as he said so following the game. He completed 38 of 47 passes, good for an 81% completion percentage. He threw for over 500 yards and averaged 11 yards per attempt. He threw 4 passing touchdowns and didn't have a single interception. I mean, there are actually a number of players at Colorado who honestly made a Heisman case this past weekend, but just because Shedeur Sanders is a quarterback, he's the one that I have edging out the other players on this list. Florida State had probably the most impressive victory of the entire weekend, and that's largely due to the play of quarterback Jordan Travis. He completed 75% of his passes, throwing for 340 yards. He had 4 passing touchdowns and only 1 interception. He also added 40 yards on the ground as well to go along with a rushing score. Florida State looked great on both sides of the ball, but they won this game because of the insane play of Jordan Travis. He's been getting better and better as each game goes on during his career, so we truly may be seeing the breakout this season. All offseason, Michael Penix Jr. was a name I kept talking about as a Heisman dark horse. Well, after his performance in week 1, he's already now one of the favorites. Against Boise State, he completed 72% of his passes for 450 yards. He also threw 5 passing touchdowns with no interceptions. I'm very high in Michael Penix Jr. this season along with this Washington team. In one of my videos a couple weeks ago, I said Michael Penix Jr. has a chance to throw for more than 5,000 yards this season and potentially reach 50 passing touchdowns. He threw for 4,600 yards last year, so he definitely can reach that 5,000 mark. He only threw 31 passing touchdowns last season. 50 touchdowns is going to be a lot, but he's already thrown 5 this season, so he's already on a great pace to get there. Coming in at number 1 though is no surprise, as I have USC quarterback Caleb Williams. Essentially, until he does something to completely lose this award, he's going to continue to be my favorite. He has 2 games under his belt this season where he's completing 75% of his passes. He's thrown for 600 yards with 9 passing touchdowns and no interceptions. I mean, his quarterback rating so far is 236.4. He's been fantastic and he's been as good as advertised. Now, I know he hasn't quite played the competition just yet, but once he starts playing some pretty decent teams, then I'm really sure he's going to add on to his case. Well, that wraps it up for my current Heisman top 10. Was there a player on today's list that I had ranked too high or ranked too low? Or was there a player that I didn't include in my top 10 that definitely should have been on this list? Whoever it is, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. I'm posting college football videos every day during the season, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.